One race down, one to go. Moto2 is back on track for the second showdown of the weekend here at Circuito do Estoril. With the season officially underway, there's no time to ease in. This double-header start means double the risk, double the reward. Estoril is 4.1 kilometers of fast, flowing corners, tight technical sections, and that long, draft-hungry straight have already delivered drama once today, and race 2 is ready to raise the stakes even higher. Whether it's redemption or reinforcement on the mind, every rider knows that this is a golden chance to bank big points. Moto2 doesn't do half measures, and neither does Estoril. Get ready for another 17 laps of pure racing theatre. Race 1 then was racing theatre. It left us speechless in the commentary box as Alberto Ferrandez and Eric Fernandez shot off into the lead. We then lost Harrison Vaught from the race. He was riding just outside the podium places but within strong point scoring positions. The number 54 of Alberto Ferrandez seized the initiative, while Unai Oradre was riding in third place. Roberto Garcia in fourth place, the reigning European champion, outside the podium positions but displayed good pace. Fernandez and Ferrandez went toe-to-toe once again, but Ferrandez eventually got his nose back in front. Ferrandez making the move at turn 6 to lead the race. However, as he began to open up a gap, disaster struck for the FIM network rider. Losing the front and washing out, rolling through the gravel out of the lead, costing him the chance of victory, leaving him more than frustrated. Eric Fernandez then was leading and on for first ever victory in the class, had a 4-second advantage, while Milan Paulik was promoted onto the podium, but the Polish rider crashing out at the corkscrew, costing him a chance at a first ever podium. Unai Oradre riding in second place, just kept it neat and tidy. Alberto Sura and pole sitter Francesco Mongiardo were going toe-to-toe then for the final podium place. Mongiardo holding the advantage over the Italian. A bizarre crash for Eric Fernandez saw him fall out of the lead and hand victory on a plate to the number 10, Unai Oradre. Sura and Mongiardo were suddenly battling for second place. Oradre took the win. Mongiardo finished second, with Sura banking big points in P3. Welcome along to the second race of the day in the Moto2 class. Our fifth of 6 races here in Estoril, and it's a pleasure to have you joining us. It's a pleasure to see that conditions have improved remarkably since the morning, and we now have blue skies and a dry track. I am Chris Jordan, bringing you coverage for today. Joining me in the commentary booth is Connor Doherty. Connor, reflecting on race 1, I think we were both pretty speechless by the events that unfolded. We haven't had a whole lot of time to settle and reflect on it, but I'm still pretty aghast at what happened, and flabbergasted, I think it could be the appropriate word to use.
I don't think I've recovered at any point since that race. It was heart-stopping from beginning to finish. It felt like anything could happen, and anything did happen. It was absolutely incredible. As a spectator, I don't think you can beat Moto2 European Championship. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. No one wanted to win. No one wanted to claim their debut victory, their debut podium. Well, conversely, of course, no one means everyone as well. Everyone was pushing so hard. The conditions were so difficult to get to grips with. And as you mentioned earlier in your introduction, this is different now. I mean, the sun is out. Look at how these riders now have to put on their sunglasses instead of before when it was just trying to get the sponsors in, I think.
Yeah, listen, race 1, we're entering into blockbuster season, and in the cinemas, but you could put race 1 in there too, be up for a few Oscars at the turn of the year. But we do have drier conditions now. We'd imagine a different event. Well, maybe not that dry. Still a little bit windy out there.
Still windy. Still windy.
Hoods up, hats on. I hope they have some friends there beside them. They look quite lonely. But listen, the Moto2 racing has been a joy to behold.
Moto2 is the only friend any of us need, Chris.
Exactly, Connor, exactly. But it's been gripping to watch, to be completely honest. It was one of the most bizarre, one of the most dramatic races I've seen. So, yeah, hoping for more of the same, but better fortunes for some of the riders too.
For some of the riders, absolutely, yeah. We just saw Unai Radre there, who did come out as winner, the first winner in this European Championship in Moto2 this season. And he was very candid in his post-race interview. He was speaking about how he had the riders ahead and he just thought he had to stay on the bike, he had to finish the race. And in the end, that's what paid off for him, that perseverance, that determination, that focus to stay on the bike, not necessarily to push for the race win, but just to be in the shout in that general area. And it worked so well for him.
Yeah, it's a strategy that works, you know. Consistency is key. Okay, maybe he wasn't expecting the race win, but you're going to pick up at least a solid third place. He was promoted into P2. It's like, okay, great, 20 points to start off the season. That's a good start by anyone's measure. So, yeah, we just saw Alberto Ferrandez then on the other side of things, who was the race leader. God, what must be going through his head, you know? He had the victory within his grasp. It looked like after a long battle with Eric Fernandez, he had finally shaken the attention of the Spaniard, but he crashed out, as did Eric Fernandez, in just a bizarre sequence of circumstances. But yeah, what must be going through the head of Alberto Fernandez now?
I think he'll be kicking himself. I think without a shadow of a doubt, because you can't be racing at this level, you can't be competing at this level if you don't rue every missed opportunity. But, I mean, what's the old phrase about closing a door, opening a window, or is it the other way around? I'm not quite sure. They have race 2 here. That's what's got to be in their mind. They've got another opportunity, they can put it right, and the conditions are different now. Eric Fernandez, another rider who failed to take advantage of that P1 position, and so unfortunate to find himself crashing out.
Yeah. Very unfortunate crash, just a bizarre one that we saw at the front of his bike rip off completely as well. Roberto, he's starting P5. Roberto Garcia then just on the inside, the reigning European champion, another rider to crash out. He was riding in 4th position and it would have just turned into a P2 if he managed to stay on the bike. Ifs and buts, as we say, but in the end, speaking of another ifs and buts, it's Milan Paulic, who was in P3 and crashed out. He's on the outside of row 2. It was a golden opportunity for the Polish rider, it must be said. With the quality of this Moto2 grid, will such an opportunity present itself for him again? Well, look, he kept himself in the fight. He was at the head of the battle for 5th, but they were 18 seconds off. With the quality of the grid, with some of the riders you have here in drying conditions, you look at Danny Munoz. He finished 5th, I think, earlier in the race. It was 5th, and he charged from 14th on the grid. So Munoz, you would expect to make a charge through the field here. So, you know, it's a what could have been race 1 for some of these riders, but let's look forward to race 2.
I think psychologically what they've got to be doing is looking forward to race 2, exactly as you said, and taking the positives from that first race in difficult conditions. As you again mentioned, if you are putting yourself in a position where, should things have gone even just slightly differently, you would be on a podium or getting a best finish ever in this class. It's great to have put yourself there. If it wasn't to be, it wasn't to be. You've got race 2 now.
Yeah, absolutely. So full focus ahead. Set to be another cracker here in Estoril. Drying conditions, still windy out, but dry track. It was a wet race this morning. Oscar Gutierrez, the number 99, a precocious talent. We've seen him
In France.
in Moto E. We've seen him in Moto2 World Championship level. Yeah.
It'll be
World Super Sport.
Next week in France,
He'll
right?
be, yeah, he was in Jerez as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, starting 9th on the grid, on the outside of the 3rd row is Gutierrez. So, again, one of these riders who could just charge through. If he gets a good start, he's certainly in with a shout at the podium. Looking a little further down through the grid, we've the likes of Chabi Zuda. Alberto Soda came from 10th on the grid last time. Danny Munoz 14th. So, don't rule out a rider coming from deeper on the grid in these conditions, in these dry conditions, and getting some good rhythm early on and making a podium charge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of these riders making their debuts as well. I mean, the likes of Adrian Cruzes, Munoz, of course, Mario Mayor, I mean to say, did so well in their opening race.
Yeah, Cruces again, one of the riders very unfortunate. It could have turned into a podium for him. He charged deep on the grid, was running inside the top 5. And then
the FIM network team would not have been happy with that first race.
Bad for a few moments for them.
Xavi Zuratusa as well, debut in the class, and what a spectacular ride. P5 in the end, I think it was. Absolutely sensational. I mean, he's such a talented rider.
Yeah. Zuratusa, of course, he was in the Moto3 World Championship last season. Makes the move to the Moto2 European Championship this year.
Cruces himself there.
Yeah, Adrian Cruces, a rider debuting in this class from the JuniorGP level. We've seen him also in Moto3 in recent rounds, picking up plenty of good point scoring positions across the opening rounds of the Moto3 World Championship as well. I think there was a P8 in there somewhere. Don't have the information at the top of my head of where it was, but if I was a guessing man, I would have to say it's in the USA. Connor Doherty furiously scrolling through the notes to verify a fact that may or may not be true. But nonetheless, we have focused on the Moto2 European Race 2.
Yeah, you're right, P8, go to.
Oh, when you're
good,
Connor.
Yeah,
when you're good, you're
sensational,
good.
Chris.
So, not long to go now. Moto2 Race 2 European Championship, Moto2 Race 1. Absolute thriller, had us on the edge of our seats. Let's hope for more drama in Race 2.
Here we go then with the Moto2 European Championship Race 2 starting grid. Mongiardo with his second pole, of course. He's followed on the front row by Unai Aradre and Ferrandez. On row 2, Garcia, Fernandez, Paulet, and on row 3, Gimbert, Tapia and Gutierrez. On row 4, Sura, Zuratusa and Cruces. On row 5, Yambias, Munoz and Morosi. On row 6, Palomera, Mayor and more. Behind them on row 7, it's Joshua Watley, Kirsevan, Ruiz, Feyon, Mihaila, Jimenez, Volpi, Alcubaisi and Loli, making up the final position on that row 9. On row 10, Uriostegi, Somariva, Eisenkolb, and on row 11, at the back, it's Emmanuel and Granshagen.
Eyes then on the number 10 as we take off on our warm-up lap. Unai Aradre, now a 3-time winner in the Moto2 European Championship, is another one in the offing. Well, it's going to be a challenge. You would imagine the likes of Ferrandez, Garcia, Eric Fernandez, all on the front 2 rows will be looking for victory. Oscar Gutierrez on row 3, Alberto Sura at the head of row 4 to make late charges. So, plenty of talent. But what about our pole sitter, Francesco Mongiardo? We didn't speak about him that much. Finished up on the podium. So he dropped off the pace somewhat, but took P2 in the end. Given all the events unfolding ahead of him, Mongiardo, could he maintain pace this time round and get another podium, perhaps even a victory, Connor?
Well, it was his best ever result in this class. He'll be eager to repeat it, but he did get that pole position in conditions which were very much wet, and you have to obviously have the talent to be able to deliver in those conditions, but race 1 was more similar to the kind of conditions we had during qualifying. This seems very, very different, but if Francesco Mongiardo can deliver, well, that would be an absolutely sensational result for him.
Absolutely. P2 earlier, I think his previous best was P5 in the season opener in 2024 in Misano. He was also on the front row that day.
Does well in his openers.
Yeah. Let's see if he can make it a more consistent season.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just about to say, he's got no stage fright, does he, once he steps out there. So yeah, we'll see what he's capable of delivering in this second race.
Up, hit the ground running in the dictionary. There's a picture of Francesco Mongiardo beside us.
hit the ground riding, I think.
Very good. Okay then. Okay, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business here, Connor. So, riders rolling across the commentary box here in front of us. They're rolling up to their grid spots. Monjardo on pole. Roberto Garcia just behind him. Maybe an opportunity for Garcia to charge from the second row, but he's got Oradre and Ferrandez on the front row to get past too. Ferrandez had an excellent start last time around, as did Eric Fernandez in the middle of the second row, the number 4. Who will get the best start here in race 2? We're set to go, eyes on the lights, revs are rising. It's go time in Moto2 race 2. Great start again from Ferrandez, good start from Monjardo, but a better start indeed for Ferrandez. It's Monjardo second. He's got Unai Oradre and Eric Fernandez though passing by them. Fernandez slots into second place. He bullies Oradre out the way, but Oradre fights back and they are shoulder to shoulder, but it's Fernandez who takes second. So it's as you were in race 1. Fernandez, Oradre, your top 3 leaving the first couple corners.
That was an absolutely sensational start from Alberto Fernandez. I don't know what he's got as fuel there, because it just seemed like he had an extra bit of thrust that no one else did. It was like a rocket off the line there from that P3 position, and he immediately seized P1.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the FIM network. Bosco Oscuro rider, a huge talent. Adrian Cruces, look at this start. He's up there beside Alberto Sura. Cruces is fired off the grid. He's now inside the top 5. He's taking on Alberto Sura, a race winner in this class. Cruces on debut. Brilliant stuff from the former JuniorGP rider. And look at the number 44, Milan Pavlik. Disappointment in race 1, but he's setting about remedying the situation. He's inside the top 8, but brilliant stuff. Is that Zuratuta who went flying past him? No, it was Roberto Garcia actually who's had a poor start. Garcia has dropped behind Pavlik from the second row, but out front, Fernandez, Oradre as you are, Monjardo sitting in 4th position. Cruces, brilliant start for him, it has to be said, though he's got some trouble.
Yeah, Cruces has been amazing. When you brought him up earlier, I was just thinking, all those races that he's had in the Moto3 World Championship, he's been able to do such a good job from further back down in the pack, and he's been able to make up. So when we talked about Kota, he actually started that race from P16 and finished P8. It takes real talent to be able to get through riders like that.
No, for sure. We've seen him on the front row many times in the JuniorGP category, but he did a lot of his best work from a bit deeper on the grid. So he's a Sunday rider, if ever there was one. But look, going strong here, the number 11 on the FIM network. This could prove a very successful day. They could turn the FIM network fortunes right around.
Fernandez.
Yeah, Monjardo straight through on him there. Eric Fernandez, or indeed it's Unai Oradre who's in second, and Eric Fernandez, a less than ideal moment for him as he drops from P2 to P4 in the blink of an eye. Cruces and Pavlik then just behind Roberto Garcia. Garcia has done a decent recovery job there.
Mayor as well, really ploughing through the pack. He's up 7 spaces. That's very impressive from him.
Yeah, the current stock European champion from 2024, having an impressive outing here in race 2, looking to pick up his first points in the class. So not quite as spread out. It's still, of course, just the opening laps, but not quite as spread out as it was first time around. It's Fernandez, Oradre out front. Fernandez will be looking to build up a bit of a gap over Oradre. Oradre having 1 win in his pocket at podium to boot wouldn't be a bad result leaving Estoril. We've lost Marco Tapia already from the opening across the opening laps, I should say. So hopefully we'll see him back in Jerez. So over the line we come. Fernandez over Oradre. Francesco Monjardo sitting in 3rd place. What a result it would be if he can maintain a podium push. Roberto Garcia hasn't yet really fired, and just as I say that, a 1:39.020, fastest lap of the race, but crashed out of race 1. Running in 4th place, did reel off a few fast laps, but just hasn't been at the forefront of the race as of yet. So maybe we're just about to see the best of the Cardoso Racing rider.
Yeah, he's the closest to breaking into that 1:38, not quite there, but he's got the talent, he's got the experience that he needs at this level, so we'll just have to wait and see what he's capable of pulling out of his pocket here in Estoril, as Milan Pavlik does really well there, just unable to make it stick, but it'd be great to see him advancing up as well and really taking advantage of this P7 start.
Yeah, highly entertaining battle here for 6th position. Pavlik then bullies his way through once again on Adrian Cruz's. Oscar Gutierrez also in part of that, as is Alberto Sura. Sura on the podium here earlier today, but just doesn't seem to have the pace to go with the top guys. Can't work his way past Cruz's or Gutierrez here. So Pavlik has actually put a little bit of space now, a couple of bike lengths between himself and Gutierrez. Now, all of a sudden, Cruz's is at the back of this battle. So he's down in 9th position, Cruz's, and he's got Danny Munoz now swarming all over him. I wonder if Cruz's has got an issue here, does he? Because he's coughed up 4 positions there with relative ease.
Yeah, and something did happen to him in the first race here in Estoril as well, so that would be a tremendously frustrating situation for the young Spaniard. We'd really like to hope it's not the case and that he can continue racing it.
Another fast lap of the race then, 138.878 from Roberto Garcia, who is on the charge. He's now in 4th position. Eric Fernandez looks to, well, I don't know what's going on with Eric Fernandez. He was so great this morning before that crash. Now he was in 2nd position. He's dropped into 5th position here. So it's Fernandez leading Oradre, then it's Monjardo, Roberto Garcia, a few bike lengths between Monjardo and Garcia, but Garcia is very much gaining on the pole sitter. So Garcia looking for his first podium of the year. Fernandez has dropped into 5th position. Then there's quite a bit of a gap back to Milan Pavlik. Oscar Gutierrez is next in line in 7th. Alberto Sura, Danny Munoz, Xabi Zurachutza complete the top 10. And as you said, Adrian Cruz's has dropped completely. I can't even see him. He's
I think we saw his bike coming off the bike. I think he was he came off the track earlier.
Wow.
His own volition.
Well, a strong start. It's undone all the good work Cruz's has put in his GP. Very unfortunate in the first race. And it looks like he's encountering more problems here at race 2.
Yeah, I mean, he was dropping there and he was looking behind himself and realised that something wasn't right, and he's just decided, right, best to just get back to the box and fix this out and give it another go in Jerez. I mean, he's clearly got what it takes to deliver here in the Moto2 European Championship.
Yeah, very encouraging signs for Cruz's. We'll get an update at some stage of what happened to him, but we will see him in Jerez. He isn't out of this race yet, but now I see his name dropping even further. There he is, going through pit lane. So it's another technical issue for Adrian Cruz's. Oh, so frustrating for the Spaniard on debut this weekend in Estoril.
Yeah, one to forget for Adrian Cruz's. He won't be happy at all. And really contrasting fortunes between the two FIM Network Boscoscura riders. I mean, Fernandez is currently leading. Cruz's is going to need answers as well as to what's gone wrong exactly here.
Yeah. So then, back at the front of race 2, and Alberto Fernandez is opening up ever so bit by bit, a gap to 2nd place. Unai Oredre now 3/10 behind the Spaniard and race leader. Then it's Monjardo and Garcia. Garcia gaining fast on Monjardo, it has to be said.
And it's the way around.
Oh, it's Oradre, excuse me. I'm getting confused
very similar
between
livery
the bikes.
Very similar.
Yes. So Monjardo has moved into 2nd position. We missed that one. But Garcia is gaining fast here. He's taken a 10th out of Oradre on the last lap. And it looks like it's a matter of when and not if.
How often did we see this last season? He's just so capable of just clicking into that mode where he just goes and goes and goes and catches up with anyone that's ahead of him. I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with, and maybe we're going to be seeing it here in race 2.
Can he hang it on the outside of turn 1? Will he get him on the cutback? No, he took the wider line there, Garcia. But Oradre went wide with him, taking a defensive line, blocking any potential dive bomb in ahead of him. So Oradre defends the position well, but there will be more opportunities for Garcia. You'd have to say probably coming into turn 6 is his next best opportunity to pinch P3 away from Oradre.
Yeah, it's going to be a real test of Oradre here. I mean, we saw that he's a very composed rider, but you have to be so good defensively when you've got a rival like Garcia coming up behind you, and it could be the moment here. No, there's just a bit too much space. Pavlik still there, doing incredibly well. This is just such a fantastic race down here as well.
Yeah, Danny Munoz in the thick of this in 9th position, which is coming into the weekend. Not a rider I'd have tipped to be fighting for 9th or 8th position. A 3-time race winner in the Moto2 European Championship last season. Personally, I would have had him among the title front runners. We've seen him as well on the Moto2 World Championship stage. Certainly didn't disgrace himself, didn't pick up any points, but put in plenty of strong performances throughout free practices and practices. A rider of enormous potential, a stock European champion. Well, it's looking like Estoril just won't be his weekend for the moment, but without a doubt, he will be back. We've got plenty more rounds to come up. He's won in Catalonia, Aragon, we've got Jerez coming up as well. So a hugely talented rider, just not apparently up to speed this weekend, unfortunately, for the number 17.
Yeah, we've just seen Mattia Volpi there dropping down the timing screen as well. That must be the end of his race. Very unfortunate for the team Chiati Bosco Escuro rider.
Yeah, not ideal.
Another contrasting fortune between teams as well, because his teammate Unai Aradre is up in P3 at the moment. Has had what can only be considered so far a fantastic weekend with that opening win in race 1.
Yeah, back out front then. Still Roberto Garcia pushing to get into P3, but still Unai Aradre showing his racecraft and defensive ability on that Bosco Scuro machine. Brilliant stuff from the race 1 winner, and in fact it looks like he's on the fight back here. Francesco Mongiardo, the pole sitter, might have some problems coming his way. Coming down the front straight, you'd imagine, is their best opportunity. We flick it left once more here, up through the S's section, the reverse corkscrew. Oh, Roberto Garcia is gone. It's a second crash of today for the reigning champion. Again, crashing out of 4th place with a podium in the offing. He has rejoined. Not sure what position, and wow, we've got another collision there to corkscrew. I'm not quite sure what happened there. We'd eyes on Garcia, but wow, yeah, a bit of double yellow flags should be out waving here. We've got another issue. Who's this gone down now as well? Oh dear God, it's Mongiardo has crashed with. No, okay. Let me get our bearings.
We'll get all of this cleared up as soon as we can.
There's drama happening everywhere here. Mongiardo has dropped down our timing screens. I think the transponders are playing. There are some gremlins in the system. It's the number 70. Okay. Josh Watley, a second crash of the day for Watley, but Roberto Garcia down again as we watch Watley try and recover. Another rider in there with him. We saw 2 bikes in the middle of that left to right corkscrew.
Yeah, we get that quality.
It looks like, well,
green
our top 3 are okay. So I thought Mongiardo had gone down. I saw his name plummeting down the time screens. Honestly, Connor, I'm not ready for any more podium drama like that.
In race 1,
after race 1.
Around.
So it is Aradre who has taken 2nd position back off Mongiardo.
is down as well.
Roberto Garcia crashed out. Mario Mayor on for a good point scoring position. Okay. Yeah, Roberto Garcia has rejoined. He's just outside the point scoring positions in P18. Just having a look, he's got 5 seconds to make up on the riders ahead of him to get into the point scoring positions. Alessandro Morosi occupying the final point scoring position. Morosi, a rider making his debut in Moto2. He was in the JuniorGP class and constantly fighting for the victories. Plenty of podiums for Morosi in JuniorGP, so it'll be interesting to see how he develops throughout the year. So this is Garcia sliding down.
This is the crash that we did see.
Yeah, the number 31 sliding down at turn 9, and then he's going to remount, rejoin the race, as he's very much entitled to do. Plenty of riders coming through though. That's corkscrew, and then we saw 2 riders, Yambias and Watley, by the looks of things, getting in a tangle, and both of their bikes left on track. So, focusing on the riders who are competing at the front, and Alberto Ferrandez's lead is now a commanding one. 1 second advantage over Unai Aradre, who looks to have disposed of Francesco Mongiardo behind him. Mongiardo then has Milan Pavelic behind him, but there is a 3-second gap between those two, between P3 and P4. However, Pavelic is the faster rider. He had 0.4 of a second to spare last time around, and he has been, well, not that much quicker, but slightly quicker than Mongiardo across the first two sectors. So let's keep an eye on Pavelic's timing to see if he can reel in Mongiardo. We spoke about Pavelic at length a little bit earlier. Wasn't quite at the pace of the front riders, but was presented with a golden opportunity for a podium and crashed out right where Roberto Garcia has crashed out in this race. So Pavelic has actually gotten ahead of Eric Fernandez. Fernandez struggling. Sura in the top 6, Oscar Gutierrez 7th. Danny Munoz has fought his way up to 8th. Xabi Zuratuza and Yeray Ruiz inside the top 10 as things stand.
It'll be very interesting to see how Pavelic really responds here, because it felt like a gift in race 1, and this time he's putting in so much effort. This is not a gift at all to find himself in P4. He's doing the laps, he's doing everything he needs to do, and he's doing it incredibly well. So if he can just edge his way into contention for that P3 with Mongiardo and even Oradre, well, that would be a fantastic result for the Polish rider.
Yeah, absolutely. Entertaining battle for 6th position here, with Dani Munoz at the front of it ahead of Oscar Gutierrez, but Munoz looks to have pulled off with a problem. Oh, disaster for Dani Munoz. Less than ideal qualifying, left in P14 on the grid. Fought his way up to 5th in the first race to pick up some decent points. Looked on for some decent points again here, but Munoz, you'd expect him to be competing at the front, but he's out of this one. Disappointment for Munoz, now part of the forward junior team in 2025. So, it's a war of attrition here, Connor. No problems so far for Alberto Ferrandez. His lead is now out to nearly 1.5 seconds, and Ferrandez chasing another victory here in the Moto2 European Championship. Of course, as he clocks off another lap, he suffered major disappointment this morning, crashing out of race 1. But this will be a very good redemption story for the Spaniard, chasing yet another victory in the Moto2 European Championship. Unai Oradre in 2nd, looking comfortable, and the gap between Mongiardo and Pavelic that time around. Let's have a little look at our timing screens. It's out to 3.6 seconds, so not much change going for the Polish rider in 4th position.
Yeah, it feels like that gap might grow a bit. For the time being, I mean, what a battle we've been gifted at the front here between Oradre, Mongiardo and Ferrandez.
Yeah, so Ferrandez, race 1, very much in contention for the win. Battled with Eric Fernandez, who's currently riding in 5th place. But Ferrandez now out on his own and in the lead. A very talented rider. We're keeping the scouts in Moto2, Moto3 are keeping a keen eye on the FIM Network Bosco Oscuro rider. So Oscar Gutierrez leading this battle now for 6th position. Alberto Sura, Xabi Zuratuza just behind him. Indeed it's not. It's the number 72 Yeray Ruiz. Alberto Sura just ahead of these riders in 6th position. Sura on the podium earlier, so a top 6 finish, perhaps not what he would have wished from coming into the weekend, but given his grid position, some solid point scoring and his championship charge up and running.
Yeah, absolutely incredible from the NFR American Racing team. I mean, right now they've got riders in P6 and P8. Prior to that, as you just mentioned, the podium. I mean, what a start to their campaign in the Moto2 European Championship.
Absolutely. Great stuff for the NFR American Racing team. Yeah, strong points on offer for them. Oscar Gutierrez, though. Oh, well, I was just about to say leads them. Now he splits them and he drops. Yeah, drops in behind.
It's now leading that group.
Yeah, Zuratuza ahead. Yeray Ruiz also profiting from Gutierrez's mistake at turn 1 there. So, great battle here we have for 7th position. Some big points on offer some of these riders you'd expect as well as the season progresses. But Yera Ruiz, plenty of experience. Zuratut's okay, he's a rookie, but has operated at the top level of the sport on the World Championship stage. A Moto2 experience and almost a title winner in Moto2 last season, Oscar Gutierrez. They are all riders of significant pedigree, so you'd expect as the season develops that they will be fighting not for 7th place, 8th place, 9th place, but for the podium position. So if they get the opportunity to pick up some solid points on a debut outing, okay, it won't grab the headlines, but look, it's a start. We bring it to Jerez, we progress, we build, and who knows? It's such a wide open field in Moto2 this year that it's impossible to pick a favourite for the championship.
Yeah, there's real calibre on display. I am actually pleasantly surprised by the performance of Xavi Sortuza. I don't know if I should be or not, but seeing him out there adapting to this Moto2 bike, the way that he is, after, I mean, he's such a talented rider. We saw that when he entered the Moto3 fold. It's a difficult transition, and we've seen it time and time again. We've seen it with, of course, David Alonso this year in Moto2 in the World Championship. It's not easy, and Zuratutha is doing it incredibly well.
Yeah. So is Alberto Ferrandez out front. He's doing a very good job out front, it has to be said. As we look at our timing screen, Alberto Sura has actually just taken P5 off the hands of Eric Fernandez. And where is Eric Fernandez? Oh dear Lord, I think he has crashed. Yeah, that's the number 4. You can see tumbling down the timing screens. Oh,
hopefully he's fine.
Yeah, hopefully for Eric Fernandez, although it's just reappeared in 5th place. So clearly some transponder issues going on. Gremlins in the system. We'll bring you an update once we know. But Alberto Fernandez, no questioning him, out in front and cruising.
Can't question
number 54.
it while the camera's focused on him. When the camera's not, that's when the doubts begin to emerge.
Yeah, some brilliant slow-mo shots here of our race leader and our podium trio, Unai Oradre, comfortably running in 2nd place, much like he did this morning, Connor.
Much like he did this morning, and then things went awry at the front, not once but twice. Once for Alberto Fernandez, let's hope that doesn't jinx him this time around, and once, of course, for Eric Fernandez as well. Both crashed out of P1, and who was there to pick up the pieces in what was such a dramatic opening Moto2 race earlier in Estoril? Well, it was Unai Oradre, currently in P2, but he already knows what it's like to feel a win in his hair from the top of the podium, as he did earlier today.
Indeed. So, as you can see, there were some gremlins in the system. Eric Fernandez battling for 5th here with Alberto Sura. He hasn't stopped, he hasn't crashed, he is still fighting for some good points. Alberto Sura, though, is a tricky and wily customer. He's plenty of race winning experience. We've seen him on the World Championship stage. Eric Fernandez still waiting for that Moto2 European Championship win. Had it in his hands earlier today and crashed out, but now it looks like it's a case of just pick up the points you can, take them with you, and reset at Jerez. But this is an interesting battle indeed. So who will take 5th place between these two? You would imagine as the season progresses, they will be pretty close in the championship. So
I will say,
could
Chris,
prove crucial at the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. But Sura didn't actually finish outside of the top 5 in any of the races he participated in last season, if he finished that race. So if history is anything to go by, he's going to find his way into that top 5 sooner rather than later.
The harbinger of doom for Eric Fernandez has arrived.
Eric, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on the battle, of course. And, well, right on cue, Conor Doherty strikes, as does Alberto Sura, who is now in 5th place.
Well, statistics prove...
But here we go. Eric Fernandez says to hell with that and fights back against Alberto Sura. Down the front straight, has the inside line on the Italian. Will he make it stick? He absolutely does. He will lead coming through turn 1. He's got he's kept a tighter line to deny Sura the run out of the corner. So Fernandez back into 5th place as we come through turn 2. But is there another attack coming from Alberto Sura?
It looked like there was, there just wasn't close enough, but this is far from over. This battle is going to be going on for what we've got left of this race.
Yeah, through turn 3, now turn 4, we're going to see it's the leaders here. Fernandez, Oradre, Monjardo sitting pretty in third. Pavelic riding in fourth. In fact, what is the difference between Pavelic? He's got it down to just 2 seconds, so maybe the podium fight's not over.
Quite a lot.
Eric Fernandez has done brilliantly well there to fight back against Alberto Sura. Fernandez desperate to cling on to that top 5. Would prove scant consolation perhaps, but consolation nonetheless after crashing out of the lead earlier today. But here comes Sura. He wants that top 5. He wants to keep that top 5 streak going. So the number 67, the Italian, what's he got up his sleeve for Fernandez? Nothing here through the reverse corkscrew. A little look over the shoulder from Eric Fernandez. He says, where are you, Alberto? Alberto says, I'm right here.
I don't think he needed to look back round there to see exactly where he was. I mean, he must be hearing that in his ears. Like, the noise must be incredible. Eric Fernandez.
Coming through the final corner then. Sura, has he got the run on Fernandez down the front straight? Fernandez has dealt with that brilliantly. And he's actually put a few bike lengths in difference between them. But can Sura get late on the brakes into turn 1? Fernandez does brilliantly though. Takes the defensive line. Doesn't give Sura a sniff.
Well, he's just come off a bit there.
Here we go. Is this the little look over? Yeah, there I am. Don't worry, I haven't gone anywhere, Eric. So, on we go in this battle for 5th position. Sura not giving up the ghost at all. Fernandez defending valiantly. It looked like Sura might have had just a little bit of an inside line coming through there, but not quite. Through the kink we go. In towards turn 6. Will Sura fancy the inside line? He doesn't look close enough. Indeed, he isn't. So it looks like it may just stay like this for a little bit. Here we have Yeray, Ruiz, Oscar Gutierrez in the battle for 8th position. Xabi Zuratutsa out of his seat momentarily, but has dispatched of the duo. How much is that little shake coming out of the corner there going to cost them? Cost Zuratutsa.
Well, Zuratutsa does look to have a bit of a better race pace than the 2 riders he's just left behind there. So he's going to need to try and make up whatever time he might have lost there. Can he get involved into the battle ahead of him? That's what he's going to be thinking, because he's seeing all of this unfold between both Sura and Fernandez, and that's going to be playing into his hands as opposed to anyone else.
Last lap then here in race 2 in the Moto2 European Championship, and Fernandez looks like he has got this one covered. But I tell you who doesn't have it covered, it's Francesco Monjardo, the pole sitter, sitting in P3. But Milan Pavelic is charging and charging hard. Is he going to run out of track? Unai Oradre is in 2nd position. And he's lapping, he's just going past one of the lapped riders there, number 38 of Granthagen, the Norwegian rider, moving out of his way. But Alberto Fernandez, redemption awaits in Estoril for the young Spaniard. Enters into the 3rd section, crashed out of race 1. Redemption awaits in race 2. It looks like he will take his first victory of the season. Jonah Eisenkolz is one of the lapped riders there, just ahead of Unai Oradre. Oradre is about to make it a P2, provided he passes the rider here without any problem. So 45 points on offer here for Oradre. 20 for P2 here today in race 2. 25 from the morning race, but 25 points look to be going the way of the number 54, Alberto Fernandez.
He's still got the final corner, but the teams are eagerly awaiting to celebrate here in Parc Fermé. It's absolutely incredible. What a ride from Alberto Fernandez as he comes through and goes down that final straight.
What a ride from the number 54, his first win of the season, and how, in dominant fashion, Unai Oradre takes 2nd, and it looks like, and it is indeed Francesco Monjardo who takes 3rd position. Milan Pavelic just ran out of track in the end. 5th place is going the way of Alberto Sura. Eric Fernandez in 6th. So we missed the late overtake from Sura on Fernandez. Connor Doherty was right. The harbinger of doom for Eric Fernandez, but a good point scoring finish for the number 4 nonetheless. Brilliant stuff. Celebrations in full flow for Alberto Fernandez.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like fraternal love between bike and man there. Absolutely incredible.
Brilliant stuff then. Well-deserved celebration for the number 54 Redemption relief very much on the mind. Having crashed out of the lead in race 1, he picks up the maximum here in race 2. He can't get his bike started. Oh, how's he going to get back to pit lane? Connor has hustled his way down to Parc Fermé now to interview Alberto, but Alberto Ferrandez looks like he might need a lift back to pit lane. How about that then for Unai Oradre? Victory and P2 on the opening day of 2025. He will lead the championship standings, going to Jerez next time out. Pops a wheelie, well deserved, it must be said. And now a 3-time race winner in the class. He's added a podium to his morning success. And Oradre is your early championship leader. 45 points out of 50 taken. So you would imagine Oradre and Team Chiatti Bosco Oscuro will be more than happy. And how about this weekend for Francesco Mongiardo? Double podium, second in the standings. So a P2, a P3 and a pole from his weekend in Estoril. Brilliant stuff from the Italian, who's announced himself as a serious contender with that ride, you would have to say. If there was an element of luck about his podium in race 1, that one was all class and all skill. So just to run through the results, our top 3 are Ferrandez, Oradre, Mongiardo. Pavlic just misses out on a podium, but picks up a brilliant and career best 4th position. Alberto Sura 5th, Eric Fernandez 6th, Suratuzza 7th, Gutierrez in 8th, Yeray Ruiz 9th, Palomera 10th. Roberto Garcia was chasing a podium but crashed out of 4th position. He remounted and picked up some good points in 12th. His first points of the campaign, having crashed out of race 1. The reigning champion has work to do as the season progresses. He finished just behind Joan Guimbert. Rossi Moore, former Northern Talent Cup champion on debut in the Moto2 class, picks up P13 with Alessandro Morosi and Enes Krashevan, your final point scorers. So your podium finishers roll into pit lane. They're going to go their technical checks, and then the party can begin in Parc Fermé. There we go, Alberto Ferrandez up and running. Managed to get the bike going again. Pops a wheelie, a well-deserved celebration wheelie. A few pumps of the fist into the air and a leg in the air to celebrate. You can tell he's more than delighted with that. Bouncing back from disaster in race 1, where he was leading comfortably and crashed out, he takes the victory in race 2, opening up a 5.5 second advantage over Unai Oradre. We'll be hearing from Alberto Ferrandez very soon. He'll go in for his technical checks. And Connor, you can see there, just waiting patiently to get a word in with our Spanish starlet. What a day it has proven in Estoril then, as the celebrations begin. I don't think his team are ready. He nearly fell over. Let's take a listen in to the celebrations.
Selfie, vamos por culo, selfie. Toma. Qué grande, nen. Enhorabuena, chicos. Igualmente.
High fives and hugs all around then, and you can just see the cost of that on Ferrandez. Absolutely wrecked from that ride. Absolute tiredness. Congratulations all around. Signs of respect all around in Parc Ferme. Unai Oradre then, just doing a debriefing. Your championship leader after round 1 is the Spaniard. The number 10 takes victory in the morning race and takes a podium in the afternoon race. Successful day all around. P3 then, Francesco Mongiardo. Second in the standings after a double podium on opening day and from pole, so he's got to be happy with that.
De repente me ha pasado Unai y la vuelta siguiente ahí llego a la 4. No me lo creo. Solo que
Yes, the universal language of motorcycle racers when debriefing. Okay, so we'll be hearing from Alberto Ferrandez momentarily. Still enjoying the celebrations with his team, with family.
Allí con todos. Se bloqueó otra. Ven atrás otra vez. Ven tú, que vas a sacar aquí el...
Time for the photos with the number 1 place.
Vamos, vamos, ahí, al aire, al aire. Vamos. Fotógrafo. Venga, vamos, que le toque ahí.
So a little look back then on how Ferrandez took victory. Brilliant start from the line, positioned him into the lead, coming from 3rd on the grid. A little bit of a shake coming into turn 1, but he managed to keep it upright as Unai Oradre and Francesco Mongiardo followed him behind. Oradre, this is the move that put him into 2nd position ahead of the pole sitter. And there you can see the checkered flag waving and the gap between 1st and 2nd. A dominant performance from the Spaniard as he drops the bike, gives it a little kiss, a hug. I think it's fair to say he's a happy rider. So, Ferrandez is down in Parc Ferme with our man on the ground, Conor Doherty. Let's hear what he has to say.
Alberto, after what happened in race 1, we've seen with the celebrations that this win means so much to you. Tell us how you're feeling.
Honestly, this is amazing. I have a lot of feelings now. Honestly, we work a lot this pre-season. We work a lot this test. We work a lot this race this weekend. I had a lot of crash this weekend. I pain all my body, but yes, we needed this victory, and I'm so happy. Thank you so much to my team, to Bosco Oscuro, to all the people who support me, to my mom. This is his name, and yes, this is amazing. Thank you so much to all people who support me. Thank you.
And now in Spanish, please.
Wow, esto es increíble, la verdad. Siento muchísimas cosas, tengo muchos sentimientos ahora mismo. Ha sido un fin de semana súper difícil. La verdad es que llegamos con las cosas bastante hechas, pero se nos ha complicado todo, la verdad. El jueves tuve una de las caídas más fuertes de mi vida, saliendo a recta, volé muchos metros, me di golpes en la cabeza, en el cuerpo, me duele todo. Después el sábado volví a tener muchas caídas, hasta 3 highs en la misma sesión. Me duele todo, pero bueno, la verdad es que ahora mismo no siento nada. Estoy muy contento, tengo que darle las gracias a toda la gente que me ayuda, tengo que darle las gracias a Bosco Oscuro, a mi equipo, a mi fabuloso equipo, que está siendo increíble crecer con ellos así. Tengo que darle las gracias a Javi Acuña, persona de confianza, mi entrenador, tengo que darle gracias a María, mi psicóloga, tengo que darle gracias a todo mi equipo, tengo que darle gracias a mis padres que siempre están ahí. Y la verdad es que nos merecíamos esta victoria y nos ha recompensado un poco la caída de la primera carrera.
Congratulations then, it's time to enjoy it.
Alberto Ferrandez bounces back then in style in Moto2 European Championship. Race 2 at Estoril, getting the whole shot from lights out ahead of Francesco Mongiardo and Unai Oradre. Eric Fernandez battled his way into P2 but faded as the race went on. While we saw Roberto Garcia make a charge from deeper on the grid, he started 4th but had to charge through the pack. Eric Fernandez, we saw there, making a mistake going wide, and Garcia then was on the tail of Fernandez, and Milan Pavelic went past Adrian Cruces, but Cruces fighting his way back at turn 6. Oscar Gutierrez here, just ahead of Alberto Sura and Adrian Cruces. Danny Munoz was part of the battle, but unfortunately for Munoz, his day ended early. Eric Fernandez, a sitting duck at turn 1 as Roberto Garcia swept on through. Unai Oradre, running in the podium places, tried to keep pace with Alberto Fernandez, but Fernandez eventually scampered off, and disappointment for Adrian Cruces as he went in to pit lane with a technical problem. Further disappointment for Roberto Garcia, who crashed again, but the number 31 remounted to take some points. More crashes then between Joshua Watley and some of the other riders. Francesco Mongiardo was running in P2, but Unai Oradre picked him off. And then here we see Munoz had to pull out of the race and retire early. A great battle then between Zuratutza, Ruiz and Oscar Gutierrez for some of the point scoring positions, while up at the front Alberto Sura and Eric Fernandez battled for 5th position. Alberto Fernandez took victory, gave his bike a hug and celebrated hard as he took his first win of the Moto2 campaign ahead of Unai Oradre and Mongiardo.
Representante da equipa vencedora, Javier Acunha.
So time for the podium celebrations, and no doubt the FIM Network box will be more than happy with this one.
Here we go then, our podium finishes.
E a vitória para Alberto Fernandez.
Adri there and Alberto Fernandez celebrating as he takes it to the top step of the rostrum. Very much deserved after a spectacular ride.
Vice-presidente da Federação de Motociclismo de Portugal, Armando Marques, representando
Armando
a
Marques
Federação
then,
de Motociclismo de Portugal,
Vice President
entrega
of the Portuguese
também o troféu
Motorcycle
a
Federation,
Francesco
presenting
Mongiardo,
the trophy here.
terceiro classificado.
Francesco
Contamos
Mongiardo,
ainda
who from
com a
pole finished in
presença do
P3.
vice-presidente
What
da
a
FIM
weekend
Europa,
for him.
Jean-Marc Denou, para entregar o troféu ao segundo.
Jean-Marc Deneuse, the Vice
Entrega
President of
também
FIM Europe,
ao terceiro,
presenting the
ao vencedor,
trophy
aliás,
for the second position.
Alberto Fernandez.
And for Fernandez, the trophy for P1.
Grande corrida.
A cathartic moment for the young
Três
Spaniard.
grandes pilotos. E agora vamos
We'll be
ao
hearing
hino
his national
de
anthem
Espanha.
now.
Vamos agora à cerimónia de
The
champanhe.
Spanish national anthem after that
Prosecco.
tremendous victory from Alberto Fernandez. As the three podium finishers take a photo together.
Pousam para a fotografia para depois recordar.
What a ride from these
E
three.
agora sim, vamos ao
They're crashing out
Prosecco
of
e
P1.
Gasosa.
Fernandez takes victory in race 2 here in Estoril. Unai and Adre did so well as well. He takes 45 points away from this opening round.
Está terminado o pódio
The FIM Junior
de
GP
Moto2,
World
segunda
Championship
corrida.
in the Moto2 European
E
Championship
agora
class.
chamava a vossa atenção, queríamos daqui homenagear neste dia tão importante para as mães de todo o mundo.
These three, I'm sure, can
Queríamos
enjoy that
homenagear
Prosecco as well.
todas as mães em geral e em particular as mães que hoje estão a trabalhar no circuito do
We'll be seeing
Estoril
the
e tornaram
standings
possível.
very shortly. And in fact, here they are. Here are the final results with that race coming to a conclusion. Alberto Ferrandis with the win, followed by Unai Oradre and Francesco Mongiaro. Milan Pavelek so close in P4, followed by Alberto Sorra, Eric Fernandez, Xavi Zuratuza in his debut, as well as Oscar Gutierrez and Yeray Ruiz. Behind them, Francisco Palomera, Joan Gimbert, Roberto Garcia, Rossi Attila Moore, Alessandro Morosi, Enej Kesevan, Lorenzo Feyen, and Borja Jimenez. Behind them, Abdullah Al-Kubaisi, Christian Lolli, Juan P. Uriostegui, Lorenzo Soramariva, Jonah Eisenkolb, and in P23, Ola Nesbakken Granshagen. Out Daniel Munoz and Jeffrey Emmanuel, as well as Mario Mayor, Josh Wadley, Facundo Yambias, Mattia Volpi, Adrian Cruces, who had that issue early on, Marco Tapia, and Demis Mihaila. Well, after the opening round in Moto2, here we do have the Riders' Championship. It is Unai Oradre who's leading with 45 points, and he's ahead of Francesco Mongiaro. What a start for him here. Alberto Sorra is third, Alberto Ferrandis in fourth, Xavi Zuratuza in fifth, Milan Pavelek behind him, Oscar Gutierrez seventh, Yeray Ruiz eighth, and Daniel Munoz in ninth. Marco Tapia 10th, Eric Fernandez in 11th, Alessandro Morosi 12th, Francisco Palomera in 13th, Enej Kesevan 14th, Joan Gimbert in 15th, Borja Jimenez 16th, and Roberto Garcia, the reigning champion, in 17th. Behind him, Lorenzo Feyon in 18th, Rossi Attila Moore in 19th, Josh Watley 20th, and 21st, Lorenzo Somariva.
That's it then for Moto2 in Estoril in 2025. Alberto Ferrandis takes Race 2 honours and gets his championship charge up and running, but it's Unai Oradre who leads the title race going to Jerez.